The opinions expressed on this program are those of the program host and guest and are not necessarily those of this station, management, staff, and sponsors. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's time now for the Crown Car Care Show. Call in with questions and comments, 220-9788, 220-WSTU. Now, here's your host.
Well, hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Guys, I think we're in the third week now of January.
That's right.
And I have a co-host with me today. His name is Mike. He's filling in for Frank. And you and I have met, I believe, a couple of years ago. We did a show together, and boy, we had a good time, and I can remember it now, and I'm so excited about this show that we're going to do today.
Yeah.
We're going to have a good time.
We're going to learn some stuff.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I keep thinking about this. January is almost up, and I was saying to myself, well, 10% of the year is almost up then because there's 12 months in a year. It's roughly 8.5%, so I just rounded to 10. So 10% of our year is going to be up already, and it seems to me it was just New Year's.
Yeah. Now I really feel like time's flying by.
No, you think about that, though, right? There's only 12 months in a year.
Yeah.
Do the math, it's 8.5. So I rounded to 10. So every month it's 10%.
Wow.
So I just was celebrating New Year's, and we're now at 10%. So, well, it's going to be another great week here in Martin County. It's cold, though.
Yeah, but I like the cold.
Well, here's a funny story. Today we work on commercial vehicles at both of our locations, and we had a Hino come in.
A what?
Hino, Hino. That's like a cab over. You'd see like a Best Buy or maybe a commercial refrigeration company deliver a refrigerator in, or a furniture store, like those box trucks. The windshield's real close to the front, and you kind of the cab tilts up when you have to work on it. The engine sits underneath the driver. Well, we had to do some work underneath the whole cab, not the hood. There is no hood, and there was this gigantic lizard about 2 feet long, in comatose because of the cold weather, just laying near the radiator in the frame of the car.
Really?
And we picked it up. This thing is the size of a big box. I mean, honest to God, with the tail, it was over 2 feet long. Big black thing. It may have been an iguana. I don't know. I didn't research it or go too in depth, but we put it in the office so it could get warm and come back to life.
Did it?
Giant lizard. Yeah. Yeah.
I was wondering, maybe it was black because it was next to the radiator. And overcooked a little bit.
No, this was totally alive, and it was interesting though, because I guess with cold-blooded animals, in the cold weather, they fall. They just don't come back. They go into like a weird comatose state.
Yeah, I was reading a story. I think it was last winter. A guy was driving down South Florida, and all the iguanas had fallen out of the trees. And he was throwing them in the back seat. He was going to take them home and cook them up.
Oh my gosh!
And they all woke up while he was driving down the road.
Oh, that's a great car story. This is a great one to start it off with. I like that. That's even better than mine.
So, do you do upholstery?
Can you imagine all these iguanas? Oh my!
Yeah, that's for me. Nope. I'm jumping out of the car at that point.
So we saved the lizard. It's still in the box. I wanted to show my daughter. She loves animals. But I don't even know. I think it's those black ones that have the orange tails that now are coming loose here in Florida.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're an invasive species.
I see them all over the place now.
Some. I think they eat everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how they taste.
Lizardy. Like chicken.
Yeah, chicken. There you go. Well, every show we always start off with the automotive news. So I figured, why break tradition? Let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
The Shelby GT500 has been re-released. It'll be out in the fall, people. That is the Ford high-level performance that, started out in 1964, 65 with Carroll Shelby, and the name has continued on. It's a relationship that Shelby has with Ford Motor Company, and what they do is they take a Mustang, and they do some performance things, some visual things, some sound things, and they make it a premium edition, and they sell them at the Ford dealers. I own a Shelby. Mine's a 2007. I have one. In fact, I drove it here today.
Nice.
But this Shelby GT500 is re-released. They didn't make it for a couple of years. They only had the GT350. So the 350 is like a smaller scale version in terms of performance. Well, they've come out with the big dog again. About 800 horsepower things that I have.
So it's when you say re-release, it's going to be a new,
it's the
updated version of that model,
right? So take the Mustang, whatever the Mustang is for this year, they take it, and Shelby does magic to it. They put they did all kinds of stuff: engine work, suspension work, radio work, and then they sell them at the dealers for a premium. I mean, they go for about $100,000 or plus.
Interesting.
expensive car. The GT350, which is still available, they haven't stopped making that one. That one's $85,000-$90,000. You know how much a Ford pickup truck costs? A big F-250 with a diesel engine in it, just a regular pickup truck commercial vehicle, $90,000.
What?
90 if you buy leather seats, and it's the more premium edition, but still $90,000 for a pickup truck.
That does seem a lot.
It's hard to digest. I don't think pay has gone up in commensurate with the prices of these vehicles sometimes. No. That's what I've noticed in the world.
Yeah.
Have you too?
For sure. That's way outside my car payment budget.
But you know what I mean? The car budget, or the cars, what they sell for on average, it appears to me, now I have to do some good research on it, but it appears to me that the growth curve on it, or the graphing the price of an average car has gone up way faster than, say, income levels have gone up.
Does that mean fewer newer cars are being purchased?
Not at all. They're stretching the payments out. Now you can go up to 90 months, 120 months on payments. So it's like boats now.
No,
they're doing it like how boats are milking the payment out. So it's still the same payment, but you're just paying forever.
Yeah. I mean, that's literally what happened in my case when I bought my new car. I went in and I said, this is my monthly payment. This is what I can afford. And they said, well, we'll just stretch out the loan until you can fit it. And I'm fine.
Okay. But you got a car. Ultimately, you don't want to think about how long you're going to pay for it.
Yeah. Almost done.
or visiting me with a big repair and you're still paying on it. I have those too.
Oh, I'm sure.
Okay. Here's another bit of news. Ford and VW, two unlikely candidates that you would think would partner together, are
Ford and VW
and Volkswagen. But remember, Volkswagen was just the one that got slapped on the wrist by the United States government in the tune of, like, I don't know, 20 or $30 billion in regards to the emission cheating that they did with their diesels. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all.
Vaguely, it's been a while.
It was a big, ugly mess. VW was forced to buy back every single, I think, Passat that VW they made for a certain period of time and give people like full refunds or close to it.
Because they were caught straight up lying.
They cheated. They put cheater software in the engine. So when they went and got federally tested for the standards that they had to be met for that year for NOx, NOx, which is nitrous oxides, which is one of the big pollutants that comes out of diesels, not nitrous oxide. They cheated on it. So it ran through the wrong drive cycle. So it gave artificially low NOx output for the readings for the government. When at the time they really were higher. They tricked them. And they tricked them and got caught. Big, and CEO of VW had to resign.
Yeah.
And this is big, ugly. And now Ford's partnering with them.
What are they doing?
They're doing, let's see here, mid-sized trucks and commercial vehicles in South America, Africa, and Europe, of all places, Europe. And I'm sure it'll transpire over in America eventually.
Is it common for different car companies to combine on
it is.
this?
And here, I'm going to give you some examples. Here's some good examples. Let's do the Tesla example first. Tesla builds their cars at the NUMMI plant, which is out in Fremont, California. Okay, it's a gigantic facility that was built by Chevrolet and, of all people, Toyota. So in the early 80s, Toyota and GM had a plant where they made a Nova, which was a small four-door economy car, but they also made the Toyota, I believe it was the Corolla there. So it was GM had their name on that car, which was sold at the GM dealerships, which a Chevrolet to be exact. And it was really a Toyota built in that plant. So Chevrolet and Toyota. And to me, that's an unlikely match.
Right.
Here's another Chevrolet or GM. GM is famous for their Duramax diesel.
Okay.
At Crown Car Care, we repair quite a few diesels. It's one of our specialties. So the Duramax, any listeners out there that own Duramaxes, this is a good story. The Duramax came from the Isuzu company. Isuzu. And the Isuzu NPRs, their medium-duty trucks are sold through GM dealerships at the commercial level. So there is companies that have marriages or relationships that you wouldn't think do.
Interesting.
Yeah. Mazda and Ford. Mazda used to own at one point 51% of Mazda. They were the ones that saved them from going to bankruptcy, I believe, back in the 80s.
Really?
Mazda and Ford. In fact, the Mazda pickup used to be a Ford Ranger.
So in these relationships, these marriages, it's not that they're pumping out a car that's going to be branded Ford /
There's
Mazda.
No competition. They're co-branding on a vehicle that they're both selling equally. Well, not equally, but open with open, no hidden agenda at each manufacturer's American, franchise dealership level. So they're selling the cars, and it's a technology sharing is what most of it is. They're sharing technology. Remember, Chrysler, who bought Chrysler after the first bankruptcy? Mercedes. They lost their tailbone on it, and that's why they dumped it here a couple of years ago when the crash happened.
Huh.
And now who owns it? Fiat. Fiat, of all people, owns Chrysler. Fiat also owns Ferrari. So Ferrari actually owns Chrysler.
Whoa.
Isn't it? Sometimes these thoughts are scary. Lamborghini's owned by Volkswagen.
Wow.
Lamborghinis. There's Lamborghini. There's parts on a Lamborghini. I believe it's the turn signals that are from a VW Passat. And those are cars that are $1 million plus.
That's
VW
wild.
owns Bugatti.
Really?
Yeah. VW owns Bugatti.
So if
This
you,
is some interesting stuff here. We've never really digested or talked about this on the air.
so I can go buy a Volkswagen now. That'll be the closest I can ever get to buying a Bugatti. I'll have at least
Me
one
too.
part in there that shares something
Yes.
similar.
Do you know what the Bugatti symbol is? What's on the emblem on
It's
the
a dollar
hood?
sign, isn't it?
No, it's a dancing elephant.
A dancing elephant.
Honestly, it's a dancing elephant. And it was made by his brother. They're from the 1800s, and his brother was an artist.
Huh.
And his brother designed the mascot of Bugatti, which was a dancing elephant, a prancing elephant, and it was on the front grille.
How much are Bugattis? I know they're expensive.
Oh, couple $1 million.
Million for a car.
$1 million. The Veyron, and I think they have the Chiron now is the latest one, and it's 2,000 horsepower, I think.
Man, I just remember it from MTV Cribs. That's how I know that car.
Well, this is good stuff. Mike, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be working with you today. It's always interesting. I hope Frank had to take care of some family matters today,
Mhm.
and I hope he can get done with that. We'll miss him, but I'm certainly enjoying my company.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
This is great stuff. And last story I'll tell you, and then we'll talk a little bit about what Crown Car Care is and what we do here in this town, is the Tesla stock has dropped 13% as of Friday. They're slashing their workforce by 7%, Mike.
Uh-oh.
7%. No, it's a cost savings, they say, so they can retain profitability. I don't know. I don't buy it.
Now that's
I don't buy-
Tesla is Elon Musk, right?
Elon Musk.
And hasn't he been having trouble getting the next model?
Well, the Model 3, it's out. The Model 3 is, as he said, it would be under 50. They cost 60, and the cheaper version of that Model 3 still isn't available. And there's really no different. All this is a programming issue on the battery pack. They're just doing it for profitability.
Interesting.
That's the difference between all the Tesla Model S, which is, 2 months ago, I drove one. They called me on the phone and wanted me to drive all their cars and report on my radio show.
Really?
True story.
Huh.
We did a show on Tesla. I love Teslas, but the difference between the long range and the regular Tesla in terms of the extra money you pay for the battery pack, it's a software program that takes about 5 minutes. The batteries are all the same.
So the different Tesla models physically the same, different software?
Okay, let's take the Model S, which is their 4-door that you've seen on the road.
Uh-huh.
Okay. When you go in to buy it, you can buy the long range and the regular one.
Okay.
The regular one is, let's just use hypothetical numbers. Let's say it's 200 kilowatt per hour, and the long range is 285. So you're getting a third more distance out of the car.
Okay.
So you can go a third further, almost 300 miles as opposed to 200. The battery is always the same. It's like you having a rechargeable drill, and the only difference between one drill lasting 2 hours and one lasting an hour is the way they have the switches set up for the programming of the battery, but the battery is the same battery on the drill.
That's wild.
It's not a molecule issue. It's a software issue that takes 2 seconds to update. And they're charging a premium, I believe, about $10,000.
Interesting.
So isn't that, it's almost slightly deceptive in
It
my mind.
is. You know, it feels that
You
way.
feel like you've been shanked on it.
And you
right?
probably go and tweak it so that you get the longer battery life, and you probably void your warranty.
If you could hack it, they're pretty unhackable, those cars, although people have hacked them.
Really?
Yes. I was on a test drive once, and I opened the secret screen up. I was up in North Carolina with my family, and I pushed if you hold the Tesla button for 10 seconds, it opens the back door up, and you can go into the back room stuff on the programming on it.
That's it? Just holding
Well,
the
there's a
button for
code
10
you got to
seconds?
push in,
Oh,
too,
okay.
but it's a known code.
Yeah, so it's out there.
Yeah, so you can get in. Interesting.
That is interesting.
Interesting stuff. Well, what is Crown Car Care, and who are we, and what do we do? We got 2 locations here in Martin County. We have one in Palm City and one in Stuart. The one in Stuart is off Cove Road, Mike.
Off of Cove Road.
Off of Cove Road.
Excellent.
And we have a manager. His name's Mike, who's been
That's a good
there
name.
over 10 years. And boy, is he nice. He's welcoming. He's smooth. He listens to our customers. He knows what to say. He knows how to write up the tickets so we get the right story, so we can get done what you need done properly. That's Mike over there at Crown Car Care.
See, I knew he was a good guy just from his name. Like you could have just
You
said
could just tell
his
from
name is Mike,
right. You
and
knew he was right.
all that other stuff was just implied.
Yes, he's probably about your age too, because names, are not generationally, but they're well, over at Cove Road. He's been there about 10 years, and he really works well with my guests. He knows how to relate the story back to the shop in the back. And if you are looking for a set of wiper blades, as simple as that, or you're looking for an oil change, or you really have a complicated problem that no one can figure out, you know where to go over there at Mike at Cove Road. And that's only half of the story. We also have a shop in Palm City, Mike.
All right, where's the one in Palm City?
Right over there by the Turnpike entrance, off 714. We've been there 12 years. And I have Chris. What a guy he is. 4-letter word, just like Mike. Right?
Yeah, there is some
there is
commonality
some
here.
relationship, and he's a good guy too.
Yeah,
About the same age. There must be something about that age group with 4-letter words.
it's a solid age.
It's a solid age. Well, Chris has been there, and he listens too. He knows how to really open his ears up and listen to the customers on what they want.
Yeah.
What kind of oil or they think they need, and then we can get them the right stuff. If there's, if they're right or wrong, we can inform them. We can set your clock on your radio if you don't know how to do it. We put air in your tires if you don't know how to do that. We do it right.
I imagine listening to the customers is a lot harder than just sitting there and listening, like it would imply. Because
You have to ask the right questions. So when you do listen, you get the right data, so you can relay it to the back as well as onto the repair order, so you can get done what properly needs to be done, not just hearsay.
Yeah, because I know whenever I have to take my car in, I'm like, okay, I got this knocking here, and I'm going to go in, I'm going to tell them this, and they're going to know exactly what I'm talking about, and they're going to take my keys, and they're going to tell me what's wrong in 10 minutes, and then I get in there, and it's like my brain turns off, and I don't know how to describe the situation, and so I sit there like a bumbling idiot, and these poor people have to try to take my words and figure out what's wrong with it, and I always am amazed that they're able to
There's
do it.
an art to it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not, I say art, you just remember, the customer sometimes has information that he doesn't know he has.
Mm-hmm.
And by asking the right questions with timing, when it happens, is it cold out, hot out? Did you stop the car and wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes, go into the store and come back out? Is that when your problem happened, Mr. Customer? Did it happen when you're going over that Roosevelt Bridge? Did it happen after you've been driving it 100 miles? A lot of times the customer won't assimilate in their mind when the problem happens with links of when the problem happens with temperature, time, distance. If we can establish that type of relationship with good information, that will aid us in the diagnosis, sometimes simplify it. Many times things that go wrong on cars, Mike, are due to the factors that we know or we think we know, but the customer who owns the vehicle never puts thought to it, that there is some method to the madness. When your car misfires or when it breaks down, a lot of times, if you look at the surrounding time period of when it happened and when you first started to have those symptoms, many times we can get right to the solution. Whereas if we didn't have the information, we'd get to it too, but it'd take twice as long.
Really? So I can come in and this is all hypothetical because I don't know
Of
what I'm
course.
talking about, but I can come
I think
in.
you're just going to come in now with your car. You're going to act like there's something wrong with it just so you can hang out with us. I know you.
Well, how's the coffee?
It's good.
Okay, good. Yeah, that I'm there.
Wednesdays I bring donuts.
Ooh,
So if
I'm
you
definitely there on
Boston
Wednesday.
cream. I only get chocolate though. Chocolate, Boston cream and chocolate for us.
Are there any other donuts besides Boston cream? I don't think so.
They're the only ones I get. I go to the drive-through and they already know me.
Nice.
I
Get a dozen Boston.
I have 12 donuts, please. Well, would you like assorted or would you like your preference? I said, well, of course I want to pick them. Doesn't everybody? And they go, well, let's get the rest of the order first before you start telling me which one. Okay, no problem. I'll have a Coke, but I want a tall glass with a lid and a straw and ice in it so I can pour my Coke in it. There's no other way to drink it, is there? Other than how would you drink a Coke out of a bottle? I wouldn't want to do that. I want to have a straw with ice and a cup, a clear cup.
I'm uncultured. I got my Coke coming out of a bottle right now.
So that's the 2 Crown Car Cares that we have. The phone number, if there's an easy number to remember, it's 772-781-8000. If you remember that hotline number, we can get you to one of the 2 stores. And we'll answer the phone. I promise you. I promise you we'll get back with you. I promise you we'll give you a timely quote. I promise you we'll even give you a ride home. And if you need to be picked up, we'll do that too. That's the kind of shops we are at Crown Car Care in Stuart. We have 2 locations, one over there in Palm City and one actually in Stuart itself off Cove Road.
Now, with the 2 locations that you have there, we were talking off air a little bit before we got started about the different types. You've got your maintenance calls and you've got your calls where people come in and say, there's a knocking sound when I'm turning the wheel and I don't know what's going on. And you've got to go into troubleshooting mode.
Yes.
Which ones do you like working on? Which one, like when you get a call in, do you secretly go, yeah, that's going to be a good one?
The secret of my business has always been my ability to troubleshoot and come up with a solution from diagnosing. That's my push button. That's the thing that I like. I don't think I'd own Crown Car Care if I wasn't gifted in that. And I'm gifted in it. It's not something I learned. It's something that I received.
Right.
And there's a difference. Some people you say, well, that guy's a born natural. He's a runner. He can run like crazy. And a lot of times they don't train for it. Or there's golfers out there that are professional golfers and they just play because they do, but they always were.
Mm-hmm.
There's basketball players. There's computer programmers that have a gift that they don't know why they have that gift. God gave it to them. Well, the gift that God gave me was diagnosing cars. And it's something I don't have to learn. I keep up on it, but it's something I got. And I don't know why I have it, but I have it. And that's why that gift is so valuable in my business. That's how I can help people. And that's what's made my success, is that gift that I didn't even know I had. And I didn't study for it. I went to college, but that's not what my gift was. And that's how I'm successful in business. Because I don't have to hardly try. It's because I like it. It's fun to do. And that makes all the difference in the world.
It's so amazing to find people, everybody has a gift. I firmly believe
everybody
has something that they're better at than other people, and it just comes naturally to them. But not everybody, A, knows what that is,
yes,
and B, is able to make a living off of that thing.
I'm doing it.
And that's amazing and fascinating.
I worked when I went to college, I went to the University of Illinois, and I worked at a full-serve gas station, full-time. That's how I paid for half my school, was working at a gas station.
I remember those full-serve gas stations.
I grew up in Illinois, and they went away. But you know what? I think where our world is now, I'm surprised no one's done come back with them, because the price differential in full serve to have an attendant out there doing it for you wouldn't be that much more than the price you get. Heck, gas is now cheaper? It's at $2 something a gallon, but when it's at that higher price range, 10 cents a gallon doesn't matter. And that's all it would cost to have someone full serve doing the gas and checking your oil, putting air in your tires. I think there's a service out there that is needed, to be honest with you. I think you could do it in this town. I think you could have a premium gas station that had spectacular attendants that were just spot on, that checked the oil and we do it at our shops, but I just can't sell you gas. I can go put it in for you, but I can't pump it.
Yeah.
It's not on demand. You see, that's the difference. But I think there is a need out there, actually.
That is interesting.
Because the price, it used to be where it was so more expensive, people were turned off by it towards the end of its era. Self-serve was right there, and it was 10 cents cheaper a gallon. When gas is only 60 cents a gallon, 70 cents, 10 cents was a lot.
Right.
But when you're up in the high dollar range, who cares? I think it's worth it.
Yeah.
You get your oil checked. How many people come into my shops where the oil's not even recording on the dipstick? They got no brakes left on the car. There's no washer fluid. When's the last time you ever put washer fluid in your car?
When I drove it off the lot.
That's right. No one does it anymore. There's actually a proper substance you can put in there that really helps it. Well, I'll tell you what's good stuff is this green washer solvent that has rain stuff in it that makes your glass bead.
Oh, the Rain-X?
Rain-X. It comes now. You can buy it. It's cheap too. Walmart sells it. And it's the green stuff, and it really makes your windows. You don't even need your wipers. You have to use this a couple times to clean it. When's the last time you replaced the wipers on your car?
That was going to be my question.
Yeah.
Because both my car and my wife's car, I feel like we changed the wipers, and then combination, I'm assuming the summer sun here in Florida
wipes them out.
They're gone within, it seems like a month. I don't know.
It's about 6-8 months they last down here. Now you can buy premium ones, but I'm telling you right now, they don't last much longer. So I just sell middle of the road, more on the budget side, because I know they just get wasted.
Huh.
They're a synthetic rubber now, and they just dry right out. And you can tell when wipers are going bad because they like bounce across the windshield. And
Yeah.
they clatter like a weird, because wiper, if you look at it, it's hinged. It's a rubber hinge. It flips back and forth when it changes direction. That's how they really work. They kind of drag it like it's a scraper you're pulling it. And when you go the opposite way, the wiper is supposed to flip because it's a long rubber hinge. And if it gets hard, it doesn't flip, and that's why it chatters. Yeah, and if they had a slow motion video of it, it'd be interesting to look at. I suppose I can make one. I'm going to do that.
There you go.
Make a video and I'll put it up on my website. You know what I mean? Of a wiper not working right, and then slow down the motion.
No, I would be curious to see what that looks like.
What's happened is it's not flapping. The hinge ain't working.
You got to have the one that works right.
Yes,
and then the dry rotted one that doesn't work.
I like this.
You can use my car as the dry rotted one.
There you go. And you get a free
set.
set. I usually have a lot of my business cards have free wiper blades. I'd give you 2 of them. You can come in and visit us.
Nice.
Hang out with us, and if you come on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Boston cream down.
Yeah.
Boston cream.
Boston cream.
The only way to go.
Coffee.
And then a Coke with a clear glass and a lid and an orange straw from Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah. You just that's the oil change day.
Yeah.
At
No, it can be.
Everyone who comes in for the maintenance and donuts.
And we have a beautiful fish tank, a 55-gallon African cichlid fish tank over at Cove Road.
Really?
Yeah, it's nice. Something to look at.
I was going to say saltwater or fresh, and you went.
Well, it's freshwater, but it's cheaper. See, African cichlids look like saltwater, but the maintenance isn't as heavy because it's fresh water.
Nice.
They come from 2 lakes in Africa, 2 freshwater lakes. They're real big. That's where the only place that African cichlids are from. There's these 2 giant freshwater lakes. Real story. And there are all these exotic breeds that have beautiful colors that look like saltwater fish. And they're nowhere else in the world.
That's
but
wild.
on these 2 lakes.
Interesting.
Awesome.
And at Crown Car Care.
And Crown Car Care on Cove Road where Mike is. And Mike will show you. He knows the names of the fish. He breeds them. He's got a tank at home.
Really?
Yeah, we've had babies in there that are grown up already. Yeah. 2nd generation fish at Crown Car Care. Come over and visit us.
That's how you know that it's a reputable company that's been around for a while.
We got 2nd generation African cichlids.
Exactly.
Oh, it's real, guys. So let's take a break.
Yeah, let's do it. We'll be back in just a couple of moments. Welcome back to the Crown Car Care Radio Hour here on WSTU, and we are streaming live online at WSTU1450.com. Todd from Crown Car Care here, and I'm curious, we got this cold weather, at least for a little bit, and how much does weather impact a car's maintenance functioning, and which one would be worse for a car, cold weather or hot weather in the summer?
That's a good two good questions, and they're actually one of the answers is going to be opposite of what you think.
Really?
But before I start on that, I'm going to say I think the ugliest car ever made was a Suzuki X90 or a Pontiac Aztek.
The Pontiac Aztek.
Hands down the ugliest thing ever made. Pontiac Aztek. I agree. The ugliest. Did you know you could get a tent with that thing from the dealer?
Really?
A tent option. They're just sinful looking, those cars.
What about the Pope Mobile? It's got the big bubble on it.
Oh, ugly. But this Aztek, you could buy it or I can buy it. And it's just a piece of junk. It was horrible from the get-go. It was GM in its finest hour of darkness. It was just awful.
Is it now, are we talking purely aesthetically ugly, or is it ugly inside and out?
Interestingly enough, it was ugly on the inside, ugly on the outside. Had all this plastic cladding on it to make it look, I guess, like Terminator looking, like that, what we thought was the future in 1980. If you went to Disney World or went to the Epcot Center and saw what their examples of the future was, it's just horrible. It had, everything was binary with these, not LED, but it was CRT screens. It was just awful. But the car was mechanically awful. It leaked oil, it drivability issues. The whole thing was just a horrible example of the worst hour of the automotive industry up there in Detroit with General Motors. Pontiac Aztek, hands down, the ugliest car ever made.
So what is mechanically ugly? Like, what was wrong with the inside?
Oh, mechanically, the interior, the accoutrements were it was stupid the way it was placed down, and it had this false sense of the future in terms of this impression that everything was like digital and advanced cockpit and all this stuff. It was nothing more than a single screen based off the old style engineering that existed for 20 years. It was a trick out. So you looked at the dashboard and you saw this digital, you thought it was spacecraft-like. When you popped the hood, it was nothing more than a minivan from 5 years ago. It was smoke and mirrors.
And what year was this?
I'm going to tell you, I believe it was like 90, 96, 98.
Because now, my understanding is
late 90s.
A car is basically just the super advanced computer. That's my understanding of it anyway.
I will have to say that there is no trickery and chicanery going on with newer cars today. None. There's you're going to overpay on a Ferrari. You're going to overpay on some cars, but there's no trickery like that,
where they make it look luxurious when it's a minivan.
That doesn't go on. We have perfect information now. We have the all-knowing. We have the source, the internet.
Ooh.
Right. We didn't have that before.
Right.
We didn't have perfect information before.
Well, I would argue the internet's not perfect either, because there's a lot of misinformation on the internet.
Yes, there is. But in terms of just pure data research, I think you'll navigate not too difficultly to the truth on product information and design styling and things of that nature with the automotive industry. I'm specifically speaking there. I mean, I think if you were trying to find out something socially about somebody, take, for example, the president or something along that lines, you may navigate difficulty. You may find some false information.
Mm-hmm.
But I think today, with information, what we do have out there with magazines such as Car and Driver and companies that review things, insurance company reports on crash data that's publicly available, I think you're getting the real story now. I think we really do find out. I think we're in the finest hour of our automotive industry right now.
Now.
Finest hour. I think and we're on the verge of going electric, which is we're going to be weeding on, going into electric. But for the internal combustion engine, I think we're in its heyday. I think this is the finest example of what we have that man has ever created is the cars today, and we're living it.
Do you think, you mentioned electric cars,
yes,
is the internal combustion engine car something that is going to slowly be phased out?
Slowly phased out, hardly ever commercially. You got these big trucks that go in. Who do you think brings all the goods and services in this? Do you know what the largest employer is in the United States in terms of subgroup Truck drivers.
Oh yeah.
Truck drivers is the largest subgroup of the employment in the United States of any other faction of a group. As grouped together, like say machinists or nurses, it's truck drivers.
Yeah. My understanding is if truck drivers ever did a mass strike, we'd last about 3 days.
It'd be horrible because where most of the stuff comes in, where does it come in? New York, Florida, and California.
Yeah.
And from China, it comes in through California, hands down. It's the shortest route, right? China's just on the other side of the water.
Yeah, just on the other side.
Just on the other side.
It's a stone's throw.
It's a rowboat.
Yeah.
Rowboat. Okay, so your question about cold weather. Here's the story on it. At Crown Car Care, let's take diesels, for example. With diesels, they break more cold.
So diesels don't handle the cold weather well.
Not nearly as well as a gasoline car.
Okay.
Because remember, the whole fundamental theory behind a diesel is it doesn't have spark or ignition to ignite the fuel, high compression, which uses the heat of compression, friction of the air to ignite it. So therefore, if it's cold, it's hard to atomize the diesel fuel. It's hard to start. Diesel fuel, the fuel lines have lots of O-rings and seals. When seals shrink, they leak. Fuel systems on diesels are high pressure. You get leaks. On gasoline, when it's cold, you see more oil leaks. Why? Because the seals are hard. So if you have a valve-covered gasket that's leaking, it's more likely going to leak when it's cold than when it's hot because it shrinks. So cold weather affects my business. I say unfortunate. It's just a consequence. I'm going to report you the facts. I'm busier when it's cold. So
cold weather is going to drive the cars in.
Yes, but you asked me the second part of your question is what's worse for your car? Hands down hot. The kiss of death for any car is overheating. If you want the one factor that you never want to have on your car, you never want it to overheat. You will terminally ill your car if you overheat it.
If I see my temperature gauge going into
pull
the
over
red,
safely.
Do I turn on the heater? Is that going to do anything, or is it just making me sweat and it's ruining the car?
It helps.
It does.
True story. It helps because your heat for your heater comes from the cooling system. So that is a good wives' tale story.
Interesting.
True. It does help.
But still pull over.
Some cars have electric heaters, though. How do you think an electric car gets heat? Just like a toaster. Interesting, right?
Do electric cars have the same issue with heat?
No. Electric cars don't break near as much. They're more solid from the drivetrain standpoint, but everything else breaks just like everything else does on a car.
That's true.
So the power plant's more durable.
Okay.
So other than that, though, it's still the same car. Steering goes bad. Everything, remember, built by man, it will break. So
that's a good philosophy.
Built by man, it will break.
Put it on a bumper sticker.
Built by man, it'll break. Bring it to Crown Car Care. We'll help you out. This has been a great radio hour with you, Mike. I've really enjoyed the show. I look forward to having you back again. It was just fun. Yeah. I haven't seen you in a while, and I look forward to seeing you again. And I hope your career is going well. I wish you kudos to everything. It's been a joy.
Yeah. What it'll be, like another 4 years?
No, I'm going to try to have you on again soon.
All right,
I've enjoyed you. Would you do it again?
I would do it again.
Well, fab. I'll bring wiper blades for you.
I'll be back. I'll bring the Boston cream donuts.
Yeah, we'll have fun here at Crown Car Care Radio Hour. Alrighty, everybody. Good night. I hope you enjoyed it. We were a little late starting, but not much. Magic, I believe, won too, didn't they?
They did.
Magic won, so it's all good. Everyone have a blessed week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.